How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Minecraft video. Now today I'm starting somewhat of a series in which I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a very awesome medieval castle from start to finish. Now this series could be going on for a while, I'm not really sure. I mean, there could be big gaps in between each episodes because obviously when you're doing a build this large and this complicated, I'm going to have to take a lot of time to actually plan out the video and actually work out, you know, what I'm going to build, because I haven't planned much of it yet. I'm sort of just going into this blind. But in this first video, I'm simply going to be showing you how to go about planning a castle build, essentially. Now, this would be very helpful in survival, especially if you need specific buildings or specific sizes of things that you need to put in there. Now, something that I really want to do with this series is not so much just show you how to build a specific building where you just copy what I'm doing. I want to go through, you know, the more individual things about how you can create your own castle that's very different. So I'm essentially going to be showing you the ideas and different methods to use to make a good looking castle, and then you guys can take that into your own world and build your own awesome medieval castles. Today I'm just going to be showing you how to plan out a castle. So the first thing you're going to want to find is obviously the location. Now this is just a seed that I have. If you do want to copy this exactly, obviously the seed will be in the description, and spawn's just over there, not too far. You can obviously find this. But you want to find a location, and it doesn't need to be too flat, especially with castles. They look very cool on mountains or on hilly terrain or whatever. So if you find, obviously this is quite flat, so you know, don't be freaked out if you use like a mountain to create it, because it's going to be obviously a little bit more difficult, but it's also going to end up being a lot cooler if you're doing it on a mountain. But once you find your location, the first thing you want to do is try to get up in the air and just take a picture of it, because we're actually going to be taking this over into Paint or Photoshop or whatever, and just to roughly lay out where we want everything to go. So let's just do that now. We'll jump over to Paint. So now once you're here in Paint or whatever you're using, we just want to start making a list of the things we want to include in the castle. Now, if you're just doing this for creative purposes and you don't really need it for a survival world, then you're just going to be building things that are purely just aesthetically nice. But if you're doing this survival, this is where you would start listing things like your storage room, or if you want like farms or things like that, it's a good place to start listing them here. But we're just going to be starting by making a list. So I'm obviously just going to have like an entrance, which will just include sort of two main towers and then a big gate, which is pretty common of all castles, so we all know about that. Then we're also going to want to do a bridge, because as you can see down here, we have a little bit of a moat going out here, which is what I really like about this world. So we're also going to have a bridge out the front. So then obviously we're also going to want the main building. I don't know what you'd really call it. I think it might be called a keep, but it's essentially, you know, the living area. There's going to be a kitchen and everything in there, the hall, all that sort of stuff, and that's going to be the main building. We'll just call out the main building. I don't really know what else you'd call it. And then I also want to include a library in here. So then we're also going to have another building which is going to look very cool when we get to it, which I'm sort of going to just call the defense tower or something like that. It's not really a tower, it's a big building, but it's going to be essentially the armory, and yeah, that's going to look really cool. And then we can also chuck a wizard tower in here, which could look really cool. Then we might have a fountain somewhere in the middle, and we'll also just put some, I suppose some houses. We'll just have some smaller buildings in and around the castle, essentially. So then once you've done that, you're just going to want to start planning out on the map, just using the drawing tool, where these sort of things are going to go. So obviously you're going to have a lot of towers going around here, and we're going to have the entrance around here. So we're going to have two towers either side, just like this, and they'll be round. And it doesn't need to be too accurate what you're doing here. And then also the gate will just be in the middle, just like that. Then we'll probably have a bigger tower down here. We're also going to have another tower up here. Then for the wizard tower, I'm actually going to have two towers quite close together out the back here. And one's going to be slightly taller than the other. And then there's going to be a little bridge going in between them. And that can sort of be, I suppose, the wizardy fantasy area of the castle, if you want to add that sort of thing in. So then for the main building, we're going to have a very large building over this side of the castle. And it's going to have some bits sticking out a little bit like this. And it's going to be roughly that shape. And it's going to be very tall, very grand. That's the main part of the castle, essentially. So then over out the back here, we're going to put the library, just like that. We're also going to have our defensive tower out here, just over the water. So then to just put the walls in, we're just going to connect this and just essentially just go around the castle, connecting all the buildings together. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm also going to chuck another tower out the back here, which will be very tall. I can also just chuck the bridge in here. And you'll notice that I'm sort of copying the shape of the terrain to the castle, essentially. You know, it's not a perfect circle or a perfect square. It's some very weird shapes everywhere around, and that's sort of what you want to do. That's going to make your castle a lot more interesting, and it's going to make it fit in with the world a lot better. So obviously we're just going to put a fountain somewhere in the middle here, sort of in like the courtyard area, I suppose you'd call it. And then we can also just plan out some basic paths. So obviously coming through the entrance, we're going to have one going to the fountain. We're going to have a path obviously going up to the main building, to the library, over to the defense thing, and then some just around here, maybe going into this corner here. So then depending on the size of your castle, if you have some room, obviously you're going to want to put some more buildings, or just some houses sort of things. So I'm going to probably have one over here by the wall, and then we can also chuck one just in here, and maybe just some smaller ones in and around the area. So now that you've created this beautiful artistic masterpiece, you can jump back into Minecraft and start laying this out in your actual world, which is what we're going to do right now. So now that you're back in your world, you just want to start mapping out the same thing that you've essentially just drawn in paint. So we're going to have the entrance around here, and it's going to be, I'm going to leave a gap of 9. So the actual gate is going to be 7. But this bit in here is going to be 9, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9. And then either side of that, we're going to have a tower. Now this tower is going to have a radius of 3, so that's just like this. So you're 3, and then 1 on an angle, and then 3 on an angle, then 1, just essentially like that. And we're going to have the same sized circle just on the other side of the gate. You can also break the 7 blocks in here just to show where the actual gate's going to be. So then, following the terrain around this way, we're going to have another tower just on the edge down here. And it's going to be, once again, the same size as the other two. So now we're going to chuck a little building just in here. This is going to sort of follow the wall around. And the building's actually going to be on a bit of a diagonal, which can be quite difficult to build. But if you do it right, they do look very cool. And it definitely spices it up from just doing rectangles and squares, you know, throughout your entire castle. So we're going to have this come 9 across on this side, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to come across 4, making that 5 total. Then we're going to have 3, and then we're going to have another 5 again. And we're going to basically just bring it back. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then do the same thing on this side. Just like that. I'm actually going to bring it over this way a little bit more because I feel like it doesn't, if we have the wall going in that way, we really don't have much space to actually get into this tower. So I'm going to bring it over this way more. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these trees here so we can actually see what we're doing, because the main building is going to be going right here up against this hill here. So now we're going to put in the large building. So I'm going to start just on this corner here, so it's going to be pretty much lined up with that building there, because the wall is going to be following that around and then connected up to this. So on this side we're going to go 13 across this way, including the corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then we're going to come across 3. So we're going to leave 3 blocks like that. And then come out 5. So 1, 2, actually we're going to go out 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then this front's going to be 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then back to this point here. We can also fill in that corner there. And then there's going to be 9 in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And on the 10th one we're going to come out 3. And then 9 across, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then back into the middle there. Out another 3. And then we're essentially just going to connect that up. And there we have that shape, just there. So we're going to place another tower in the corner here. So it's the same size as the other ones we've done. So then we're going to start the library. The corner is just going to be here. Now this is just going to be a simple rectangle. So we're going to go about 27 blocks that way, and we'll do 15 back. So there we have the library. So we're going to add another tower on this little rounded bit just here. Now it's going to be slightly larger than the other ones, so we're going to have 3 on the side again, but then we're going to have 2 single blocks instead of just 1. And then we have the 3 again, and then 2. So now we just need to finish off this section around here. So we're going to have a tower out the front here. Now this will be the same size as that one at the back, so it's going to be 3. And remember that you can also hang it over the edge quite a bit, because that makes it look quite a bit better. So like I said earlier, if you're doing it on a mountain, that'll look good. So now the armory slash sort of defense building is going to go just here, and it's going to be almost a square. We're going to do 15 long this way and then 13 that way, which is going to be a rectangle just here. And now our 2 sort of wizard towers, I suppose you can call them, are going to go just on this diagonal here. So we're going to have both of them the size of the first towers that we were doing, where it's 3 on each side and then 1 and then 3. Actually, we might have the taller tower a little bit skinnier, so we're actually just going to do so just perfectly on an angle from here. So we'll leave 3 blocks in between, and then I'm actually going to do a tower that's just 3 like this. So it's quite skinny. I mean, I'll revisit that later and determine whether that's actually what I want to do, but I just think it could look good having a tower that's a lot skinnier. So now I'm just going to use yellow wool, and we're going to fill in basically where the castle walls are going to be. So we're just going to connect all the way around the outside, roughly where we want them to be. And now the walls don't have to be perfectly shaped. They don't have to have much of a they don't have to be hard angles or anything. You can just sort of flow it around and it'll make it look quite good. So now that you've filled in the walls, you can see we have a pretty good floor plan of what the castle is going to be. And now, at this point, this is probably where I would start, if I was doing this on Survivor, where I'd start going in and actually build each section. Because the stuff on the inside can be sort of hard to determine, like sort of the scale that you have until you've actually built up the castle around it. But if you've got, for example, if you have a smaller area castle, you probably don't want to have buildings on the inside, and it's probably just going to be sort of courtyard area. But if you have one that's this size, which is quite large or even bigger, you're going to be having buildings on the inside as well. And you can start working out the paths and things now if you want to. You can, go ahead and do that. But this is probably where I'd stop in terms of the floor plan. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it actually helped you out quite a lot if you're looking to build a castle. Now stay tuned, because the next video in this series is going to come out soonish. I'm going to be getting started with the front entrance with the 2 towers and obviously the gate. And I'm looking forward to building that. So if you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like down below. Also leave a comment letting me know whether you like this sort of video. It's a little weird. It's a bit different to what I usually do. But if you enjoyed it, obviously leave a like, and it's very appreciated. But anyway guys, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.